Unicorn Warriors Eternal is a brand new animated series brought to us by Genndy Tartakovsky, who has brought us so many great TV shows that I guess they just let him do whatever he wants. Good. I do know the show has been in development for many years and was even shopped around to other networks who all rejected it, until Adult Swim stepped in because apparently they care more about animation than anyone else, including Cartoon Network. The show is about a group of heroes brought together by Merlin, who in this version just looks like he's constantly pissed off, who are periodically resurrected throughout history to fight evil. They do so with the help of Copernicus, a steampunk robot from a future time from when they originally started, and he keeps their souls in his body, and every once in a while he will awaken and find a body for their souls to inhabit. And fun fact, Copernicus is based on Tik-Tok, a character from the movie Return to Oz. In the show, they find themselves in England during the Industrial Revolution, and unfortunately, this time around, when they get awoken, some things go wrong. The heroes are Melinda, a powerful sorceress, and she takes over the body of Emma, but rather than taking over her body completely, Emma just gets her powers and her memories and is kind of unwilling to wield them. Sing, a celestial monk who exists between two worlds, and his powers are given to an orphan boy named Alfie, but because he's a kid, he has trouble wielding and even comprehending them. And finally, there's Edred, an elf warrior who has taken over the body of a street performer, and he's mostly unscathed throughout this, but even he says that he's got some fuzzy memories. So the first thing that caught a lot of people's eye about the show was the design work, specifically with the characters, because they seem to be based off of a lot of classic cartoon characters and comic strips. I've seen a lot of it compared to stuff like Asterix and Obelisk and Betty Boop and even Popeye. I guess Gendy's still a little salty he didn't get to make the Popeye movie. For the love of God, someone let the man make his movie already. But in addition to that, just like his previous show Primal, this series has also been heavily inspired by the works of Ralph Bakshi, specifically the film Wizards. In fact, Merlin's design comes directly from a character from that movie called Darkwolf, who, if I remember correctly, was a villain. Also, to me, the show kind of comes off like an indie comic. You know, something you'd see on the shelf at your local comic shop that's kind of offbeat and maybe not a lot of people are reading, or just kind of a weird thing. Like, I don't know. I think something about the look and the style and the tone and like the colors and the dark outlines and stuff, it was kind of resonating with stuff like Hellboy and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but I don't know if anyone else feels that same way, but that's kind of how it came off to me. The animation in the show is excellent too. It's very smooth and fluid, especially during the fight scenes. And the characters are also extremely expressive, much like their classic cartoon counterparts. Although, I feel like maybe they're a little too expressive at times. Like, there are a lot of scenes in the show where they just show a close-up of a character, and you see every single movement in their face, and it admittedly does come off as a little bit weird. On the surface, the show does have kind of a simple plot, but there do seem to be a lot of layers to it. Like, there is an episode where they establish that there are people who are aware of the Warriors and would even willingly give up their bodies for it. And it's something that I kind of hope they go back to at some point. It also brings up some moral questions because while the Warriors fight off evil, they kind of have to hijack someone's body to come back, basically taking over their life. In fact, that's what happened with Emma, because she got all of her powers on her wedding day, and that basically ruined her entire life. One of the complaints that I heard about the show is that it's kind of slow, and while I kind of agree with that, I do know that that is actually Gendy's style. He likes slow burn plot, and he likes minimal dialogue, and while this show does have a lot of dialogue, it does have the same pacing as a lot of his other shows. Though personally for me, and this is kind of a nitpick, I don't really like the title of the show. Unicorn Warriors Eternal. It sounds like something some kids would name their D&D group, but it almost sounds like a joke title, but maybe it'll make a little bit more sense as the show goes on, because the reason why they're called Unicorn Warrior, well, it's Unicorn: Warriors Eternal, whatever that means. But the reason why it's called unicorns is because they were given blessings from a unicorn in episode 1 or something. I feel like they could have just shortened it to Warriors Eternal or something along those lines, but again, that's just me nitpicking. Also, it seems like they took a little bit from Symbionic Titan, Genndy's show that was unfinished and everyone wants him to finish ever since he finished Samurai Jack. Symbionic Titan is about a guy and a girl from space who fight off monsters with their robot friend while also maintaining a low profile and being pursued by authorities. And while Unicorn Warriors Eternal is a much different show, it did seem to me that they borrowed a little bit from Symbionic Titan. I also find it strange that this is an Adult Swim show. Like, it's not really that adult. I mean, sure, it's a little bit more above the level of stuff you'd see on Cartoon Network, especially nowadays, but again, nothing about it really comes off as too adult, although there was one joke in episode 3 that was really, really funny. And I'm not going to spoil it, but if you've seen the episode, you know exactly the one I'm talking about. And that just seems to be the closest they get to any type of adult content. Other than that, it just seems like an action series. Although I should mention the show is still ongoing as I'm recording this. So for all I know, a couple episodes down the line, there's going to be a bloodbath or something. And my comments about the show not being adult enough are gonna not hold up very well. It's already happened, hasn't it? But overall, I don't really have any major complaints about the show. I think it's awesome. I'm eagerly anticipating each episode every week, and I feel like streaming services has kind of ruined me when it comes to watching series because there's so many things now that you can just binge at your leisure that every time there's an episodic show that comes out once a week, I kind of get a little bit impatient about that, and I guess that's a good problem for a show to have. So I highly recommend Unicorn Warriors Eternal if you've not seen it already, so please go check it out, and let me know what you thought of it. My name is Rob, and have a wonderful day.